learn a lot about Indian poetics, how Indian aestheticians has described how to read poetry in Indian culture. Today we are stepping in the Western theories. And I would like to start with post-structuralism. First of all, it is a very, you can say, tricky idea. The post-structuralism is very tricky idea, but when you get it, you can play with this idea. One thing. And post-structuralism is a theory to study literature. It is a theory to study language, as well as post-structuralism is also a theory of philosophy. It has emerged out as a philosophical practice over language, over the nature of language, over the formation of language, over the evolution of language, and how it is language that shapes everything. It studies that how our reality is shaped with language. So, how to understand our own reality and how to deconstruct it. Deconstruction that you are going to study in the next lectures, it is a part of post-structuralism. It is a part of postmodernism. Hmm? And we know how postmodernism evolved, how modernism transferred, shifted to postmodernism. And postmodernism gave birth to different disciplines, to different thoughts. And post-structuralism is one of them. Okay, clear? So, post-structuralism, we can understand post-structuralism as an extension of structuralism, not opposite of, but a criticism of structuralism. It basically relies over two assumptions of structuralism that it tries to challenge. The first one is that reality is available only through language. First thing that we have to know that structuralists define reality as available only through language. It is only our language through which we can perceive. Language is the maker of all our experiences. Okay, agree that language, it is only through language that we can construct a mental picture, we can construct our experiences. So whatever reality, suppose this is a pen. So how do we know that this is a pen? Not only by seeing, but also by uttering that it is pen, that it is blue, that when I open it and when I mark with it, it will write. So it is through language we can make sense of the world around us. We can make sense of what we speak. We can make sense of our own personality, our own existence. One thing. The second thing that the structuralists said that language and meaning is only produced by difference. Now, what is difference? Okay, we will discuss that what is difference. But let us consider this line that language and meaning, they all are produced by a difference. When structuralists said that experiences, meaning, everything is produced out of difference, that means there is no fixity. That means there is no stability. That means there is no centrality and certainty. So it is a kind of experience that completely overrooted the belief, the contemporary belief, because earlier we had God. Earlier, we have a fixed notion of something. What is truth? What is God? What is world? How do we operate? What is a human being? But deconstruction said that since we live in a system of difference, meaning is produced out of differences. Meaning is not something that you deduce from the word. Meaning is only trace. that you assume. And in this way, you cannot find a certain fixity, certain stability that earlier it was claimed that it was possible. So these are two basic assumptions of structuralism that post-structuralist theorists try to deconstruct, try to challenge. So I think before going deep into post-structuralism, we should know something about structuralism. Because until we know that what structuralism is, what are its assumptions, we cannot go deeper into the understanding of post-structuralism. Okay, so structuralism, we can say that the father of modern linguistics, that is Ferdinand de Saussure. Ferdinand de Saussure. If you want to, you can write the name. Ferdinand de Saussure was born in 1857 and died in 1913. He has written a book. He was a linguist and he has written a book, Course in General Linguistics. And this book was published in 1916 posthumously. Okay, in this book he has worked over many assumptions related to language, many dialogues, many contradictions that occur in a language, and his basic dualities of language. And he has discussed about syntagmatic, paradigmatic relations, synchronic study, diachronic study, and so on. So this is how he had started by exploring that in linguistics, what should we study? First of all, what is the object of study? Our study. He says that linguistic and language, it is different from other sciences. The object of our study is not very clear from the very first instance. We have to go deeper. And he starts by citing that when you analyze language, language doesn't occur on one level. The meaning, the process of generating meaning, and the language evolution, it doesn't occur. The process of language, the process of conversation, it doesn't occur on one level. There are various levels. So first of all, he says that uh, the language um, he starts by explaining that at the very first instance, language is physiological. Language is made up of various sounds, and these sounds involve in a kind of concept. So there is a physiological construction of language that converts in psychological awareness of that language. So he says that since he counts on various dualities. He says that language is physiological, language is also psychological. He says that language is individual as well as language is social, and language is a you can say established system of evolution. Language is not something that you get to know in one day. It evolves, and you learn how to use it, how to use a language in order to understand the reality, in order to express your feeling, in order to express others' feeling. So he has given these basic assumptions, these basic dualities, that language is physical, language is psychological, physiological, language is individual, language is social, and language evolves. Very important thing, that language evolves. And as a proof, he says that there can be two types of study of language. One is syntagmatic, and one is synchronic, and the other one is diachronic. Okay. Now, what is diachronic study of language and synchronic study of language? Saussure says that language not only evolves over a period of time, language also differ in a particular time. So when you study language from past to present, hmm, you can say horizontal study of language, then it is a diachronic study. But when you study the phenomena of language in a given time, hmm, according to the users, it is the synchronic study of language. Okay, is that clear? Okay. So next he says that uh, language is made up out of linguistic structure. This is he says that a linguist should focus upon the linguistic structure because there are various dimensions of language. As we know that language is physiological, language is psychological, language also occurs at the physical level. So he says that linguist can study and he should study the linguistic structure. This linguistic structure is a part of language. It is not all language, but it is a part of language because the physical thing, the psychological thing, the physiological thing, the social thing, the individual thing, they all are a part of language. Okay, so this linguistic structure is also a part of language, and a linguist should study that structure. It is now what is the linguistic structure? He says that linguistic structure is a body of necessary conventions which is adopted by the member of society to enable the member of society to use that language. Okay, this is how he tried to connect language with convention. Hmm? Can language is not made in one day. We use things, we use certain pattern, we use certain structure over a period of time, and this is how we learn to make meaning of those patterns, those structures. So he says that this linguistic structure of a language is the body of necessary conventions adopted by society to enable those members of the society to use that language. Is that clear that how language is a convention? Is it clear? Okay. He says that he says that uh, uh, in linguistic structure, signs play a very vital role, and he also discusses about the how this meaning process goes on and how we produce sound. He says that there in a conversation chain there are two people, one who speaks and one who listens. So there is verbalization and there is hearing. Hmm. And he gives a graph. Suppose if I have to speak something, then in our brain there will be a linguistic sign. First of all, it is psychological process. Suppose if I am watching this and I have to name it, I have to use the name of this thing in a sentence. Then my brain will tell that, okay, this is pen. Okay, this is the psychological process that we know that the concept of a pen. What is a pen? It is a concept. So our brain tells that it is a pen. Then our brain charges, or you can say it transmits an impulse to all the body parts that are used in the production of a sound. And this is physiological process. On this process, or on this level, our brain transmits an impulse. to the vocal organs. Next is the physical level of language, where our vocal organs produce a sound. Okay, is that clear? 3 levels. First of all, it is psychological, then it is physiological, and after that it is physical. Okay, it happens on the level of the speaker. And suppose when there is a person who is a listener, this process just reverses. First of all, the physical means the auditory organs of that person are activated. They listen a sound. These sounds produces a kind of impulse in the brain, and after that brain makes a concept. Okay, is that clear how this chain goes on? So he says, Shashore says that this is how the language works. Language doesn't occur by only saying and listening, because we say and the moment passes. We say one word, then we say second word, then we say third word. Like I am giving you an introduction of structuralism. So I am saying one word after another, one sentence after another. So in isolation, no word is going to make a meaning, a whole concept. It is not going to give you any concept. Rather, he says that this meaning works on imprints. Every word leaves a trace behind itself. Every word, every sentence leaves a trace. And all these traces are founded in a concept. This is how you understand things. Okay. One problem with language is that we can evolve language for all the tangible things. We can evolve our language for various intangible emotions or things, abstractions. But not all the abstractions can be covered up by language. We have a very limited use of language. So only by different combinations we can produce such impressions that we can address those abstract ideas. Are you getting it? Because different kind of combinations leave behind itself different kind of traces. And these traces, these imprints produce a kind of concept, a mental picture. Okay, is that clear up to now? How language works? Okay, so he says that the main argument behind the main reason behind all these arguments, according to Shashur, that he wants to differentiate between language and speech. Okay, language is a whole system, but speech is not. Speech is very particular. For this, he had coined 2 different terms. First is lang. Lang refers to the whole system, the whole structure. Okay, lang is language, and it denotes the whole system. And only a part of it can be used by its speakers, and that he has termed as parole. So lang and parole, these are 2 basic concepts that he has given after syntagmatic, paradigmatic, synchronic and diachronic study. So he has presented, Shashore has presented various dualities. So we will take all them up one by one. So by now we know that what is diachronic and synchronic study of language. And afterwards, he moves further and says that language is different from speech. Language is lang and parole is speech. Language is the whole system, the whole grammar, the whole, all the combinations of words. This is lang. But you cannot use lang. You are only a part of that lang. You are parole. I only use certain combinations to produce my emotion, to express my emotions. Okay, you are getting how lang is different from parole and how an individual can access only to parole, not to all the lang, all the structure of the language. So he says that a linguist should study lang. And he also should keep in mind the parole, but lang means the whole linguistic structure he should keep in his mind. He says that language can be localized in speech circuit, whereas sound patterns are linked to font. Means he says that this is only language that can be available for a person so that he can draw certain coinages, certain concepts, certain combination to use for himself or herself. He says that linguistic structure and linguistic science are very important in speech, and this is how he comes in the area of science. He says that language is closely related to semiology. Semiology is the science of meaning. Okay, language, we use language in order to produce meaning, in order to make a meaning out of it. And language is a system of sign. So there is a question arises here that how this sign is a part of semiology. Now, what is this sign? Sashur says that any word you can say, uh, language language is a system of nomenclature. Nomenclature, you understand? Language is a system of nomenclature, means giving name. We have on the one hand the list of articles. This is pen. This is, means these are certain articles. One side we have articles, the other side we have name. This is marker, this is pen, this is book. We have name for each. Okay, you are getting? So he says that every word is made up of two things. The first is the article itself, and the other is its name. But he did not adopt it, this terminology as name and article. He says that a language is made up of sign, and sign, S-I-G-N, sign. And sign is made up of two things. First is signifier and the second is signified. Okay, these are two concepts, the signifier and signified. And he says that the ideas are independent of word. We have various ideas, we can feel them until although we do not have language, but we can feel them. And he says that there is a link between these two things, the signifier and this signified. Now, what is signifier and what is signified? Suppose this is a sign. Okay, this is a sign. When I say that this is pen, I am using a combination of sound, pa, pe, pe and na. Okay, two consonant and one vowel. A consonant, a vowel and a consonant sound. Pen. Okay, this is the signifier. The sound, the very sound, p, a, and n. Three sounds. These three sounds are signifier. And what do we get out of it? A concept. Hmm? The concept is pen. And I am showing you, this is the sign. This is the sign. It is made up of two things, the sound and your mental concept. Okay. And I'm not going to say that this pen represents all the pens. All the pens of the world. All the possible evolution in the history of pen. No. But we know it is a pen. Suppose I say a table. Table can be of various types. But there is a mental picture that something, a wooden board which has four legs. A very common and generic concept creates in your mind. Isn't it? So he says that this is how language works. Every sign, it works on sign system, and every sign is made up of a signifier and a signified. He says that the nature between the signifier and the signified, though we have to study it, it is very arbitrary. Arbitrary, you understand? The relation between the signifier and signified, it is not logical. And how do we know that? Because when we study, this is why he has focused on synchronic study of language. Okay. Again, giving you example of this pen. I am using pen. The word pen. It signifies something. But to prove that there is no logical relation between pen and this concept, he says that you can use words from other languages. Like in Spanish, it is boligrafio. It is boligrafio. There is no connection between boligrafio and this. There is no connection between pen and this. And there is no connection between kalam and this. Kalam is a Hindi word. Okay, so we know that it could have been told anything. It could have been told any certain combination of letters and sounds. So it is very arbitrary that we call it a pen. It is very illogical that we call it a pen. But we know somehow that it is only pen. First of all, he try to understand that how language the relation between the signifier and signified is very arbitrary. Why it is arbitrary? Why he has said that it is arbitrary? Because in a signified there is nothing inherent that say that a particular signifier will assign to it. It has this pen has nothing inherent in it that it can be called a pen. Okay, clear? I know it is very the first stance, it is going to be very heavy, but try to understand that why it is arbitrary and what arbitrariness is. It says that meaning doesn't reside in the word. Suppose I say, again citing one word, giving just for the sake of example, suppose I say lapis. What do you understand by this? Lapis. Can you make meaning of this word? So hence it is proven that meaning doesn't reside in the word. Okay. We give meaning to the word. Words have nothing in itself that says that, okay, call me this. If it would have been the case, or there must have been only one language. One language all over the world. But it is not so. We know that there are various languages. Hmm? And in all the language, in all those languages, this is different. This is called differently. Hmm. So he says that there is nothing inherent kind of thing, inherent meaning in a word. Hmm. And any concept is not going to suggest you something about the signifier, how it should be pronounced, how it should be said. Okay. He says, suppose if everything is so arbitrary, so is it very easy that from now on I will start calling it a cat? Would it be acceptable? If I say no, if it is very arbitrary, I will call it a cat from now on. It won't be acceptable. It is not going to make any meaning. So he says, Sashor says that although it is very arbitrary, the relationship between the signifier and the signified is very arbitrary, but it at last it relies on a convention. Okay, only through convention we develop meaning. Suppose there have been, suppose there are two people who decides to say uh, something to some object. Hmm? At initial stage, they won't be acceptable. But later on, when the concept develops, hmm, they they can come into the system. For example, uh, uh, suppose before 50 or 60 years ago, what does the word mouse might have mean? Mouse. Hmm? Now we know that mouse can mean anything else than an animal. Hmm? Before 50, 60 years or why to 50, 60 years? We'll go back so 30 years or so. Twitter, what is Twitter? What was Twitter at that time? Twitter is the sound of bird only. But now we know that it is something else. So this is how language evolves. This is how meaning evolves. So it is strictly a social convention. Language is a social convention. Language is not made up in isolation. Language is not made up only by a single person. At least in order to exist a language, at least there should be two people, where one says and the other listens. Then the listener says something and the hearer understands. The exchange of ideas. So only in this way we can understand language, that it is a convention, though it is arbitrary. Language is arbitrary. The relation between the signifier and signified is arbitrary, but there is a relation, there is a convention. It seems arbitrary, but there is a convention. There is a long time that has gone behind making a language. Okay, he says that against this argument of arbitrariness, people can say that there are some onomatopoeic words, because onomatopoeic words has suggestion in themselves. Suppose we say that the cat mews, the cat mews, the dog barks. So they are somewhat onomatopoeic suggestion. So, and onomatopoeic words themselves suggest the word, but they are very small in numbers, very small. And when they enter in the linguistic structure, they are also worked out in certain way. Then people can say that there are interjections, there are exclamation, who are self-defined, who the meaning is already always present in them. Like the expressions like ouch, like oh, like they are more or less equal in all the convention, equal in all the language. But again, they are very less. They are only exclamations. They cannot form the whole language. So he says that uh, the relation, this signifier and signified relation is very arbitrary. So one thing, we have lost one fixity here. Okay, we have lost one fixity here, that the relation is very fluid. But and he says that it works on convention. Saussure again and again, even though he started knowing the nature of language, the nature of its fluidity, he tries to anchor meaning in something, so that we can work out, so that meaning can be worked out. So he says, although there is an arbitrariness, but this depends on convention. Over a longer period of time, the meaning freezes in the thing. Okay. Next, he says that the nature of these signs is very linear. You say one word after the other, after the other, and after the other. This is how a chain evolves. And in this chain, one word is different from the other word. One sound is different from the other sound. Only because of this condition, we can understand the meaning. For example, suppose, for example, okay, I'm trying to wind it up in 5 minutes. Okay. What does he mean by this chain? He says that suppose I utter bat, cat, rat, chat. These are the combinations, means one word, only one sound is different here. Bat, mat, cat, chat, rat, only one sound is different. The other two sounds are same. Okay. So, because of this difference, pa is different from ba, bo is different from cha. Because of this difference, we are able to produce meaning of these words. Okay, is that clear? Clear? When he says that language is a linear system, he says that when you put things in a linear form, the difference of each chain from the other, each link from the other produces meaning. Okay, is that clear? And next he says that language is a system, that we already have focused, that language is a system. It has not evolved in one day. We know that language has a grammar, and grammar is a thorough system. It has been evolved. So he said basically three things: that language is arbitrary, the sign is arbitrary, it works in a very linear way, and it works in a very systematic way. These three assumptions are going to be contradicted by the post-structuralism that I think we will take in the next class. Okay, I will end up here. If there are any questions.